Hi everyone, I'm Sostine. Today I'm going to talk to you about something a little different. I'm going to be doing one of these little dollhouse kits. I don't know if you've ever seen these before, but they're so cute. I've done one before on my Instagram and I kind of like them between big projects, kind of like a palette cleanser, like it's my sorbet. It's so like fiddly, like everything fits into a little walnut that comes inside of the kit. And it's a little rabbit and they do all sorts of different things. Like there's a birthday party, they play music, they go into caves. They even have a set of special like Christmas ones. I don't know if all of you or any of you remember this, but back in the 90s, Samantha from American Girl had a box of crafts. And one of them was that you could make a beautiful little walnut. I was a Felicity girl, but my best friend Marjorie, had the Samantha doll and she got the walnut kit and I was so jealous. Since then, I've been kind of like eyeing like cool walnut kits. And these kits are relatively cheap. They're about $10 to $15 on Amazon, at least last I checked. And if you want, you can buy the whole set from AliExpress as well. But then I just want you to know it takes about 4 to 6 months to get here. But that's okay if you're not in a rush or anything. But if you want them like next day, I highly recommend Amazon, of course. I like these kits because they're just like, they're about 3 hours to make each one and they come out so cute. And it's just like a little satisfying thing between huge projects. I just finished my Marie Antoinette dress yesterday. It's missing a few things that I can't really help right now because the mail just kind of swallowed them. And I think today is a really great day to actually do one of these kits. So I figured that instead of just watching me do one of these kits, we could also go through some of the questions. I love like doing little question type things on my Instagram and I got a bunch of really great ones a couple of months ago. So I plan on going through those questions as well. Let's get started. That's really funny. They actually give you a pen to paint the mushroom with. So believe it or not, other than the glue and batteries if you need it, it really comes with everything you need. So first off, you see these two little like resin walnut shells and they go together. As I said, I've done 3 of these kits so far and not one of them was missing a single piece. So, is it impossible for them to miss something? Absolutely. But I honestly would say if you think you're missing something, definitely check your end before theirs. And there's 2 little bunnies. Okay, you'll notice they come with instructions for everything. Usually these instructions are really, really good. So they also come with a separate piece of different designs that you are expected to cut out. They're either going to be patterns like this one, or they're going to be designs that you actually cut out and put into it. Like one of the music books is actually here. So those are the pages. And for all of these kits, I highly recommend you just go slowly and just kind of take it easy. I mean, think of it as a nice way to relax. This is not a race. Like I usually do like 2 hours of this at a time. So I'll probably do a little bit of this today and a little bit more on Monday until I finish. Okay, so first off, I'm supposed to make a carrot and then cut it out. Okay, that seems easy. So I have 2 different ways of cutting these. I have a box of Exacto knives and the blades go through, I go through them really quickly. I highly recommend that you change them out really quickly. So I have a box of just blades. I have duct tape here because whenever I'm working with blades and I'm switching them out, I cover the old ones with duct tape so that they don't actually they can't cut anything anymore. And on top of that, like that way they're going through the trash really safely. I have a toddler, so I have to be super duper careful about all of this. Now, the type of glue I'll be using is wood glue because I couldn't find my Elmer's. I think Malcolm ran off with it because he is allowed to play with that one, and some E6000. So I might as well get started answering questions. Catherine R.W. put in, do you ever put sneaky hidden stuff in your embroidery? And I had to say yes. I will often put in a fleur-de-lis, which represents my favorite thing to play in Warhammer 40k Sisters of Battle. For my son's coats, I frequently put in his favorite snack at the time, whether they're gummy bears or goldfish or whatever he likes at that time. How much do you spend on fabric per year? I'm not telling you guys because I don't know. I don't want to know. Yeah. Next question. How do you store your projects, both finished and current stuff? That's a really good question. I find that what really makes costumes get damaged in storage is not actually folding of the clothes and putting them in a box. What actually hurts them is being pressurized. So like if you pile other things on top of it, that pressure puts wrinkles in it. So what I do is I buy these large plastic bins and I loosely put my dress into each one. If there's a lot of different parts, I'll pad it with archival paper, but oftentimes I don't even have to do that. I just kind of loosely put it in the box, put the cover on, and as long as there's no pressure on the dress, it actually stores really well. And when you take it out, you don't even have to iron it or steam it. It's like perfect. What are your tips for beginners? My tips for beginners are just keep going and don't compare yourself to other people. Just compare yourself to what you were doing 1 year before. And instead of losing interest in a project and putting it to the side, if at all possible, actually finish it. Because, you know, getting that last 10% of a project done is like the hardest part. It's never really interesting. It's always like the buttons or the closures, but that's really what finishes a costume and makes you feel like you've actually completed something. Now, so basically I just folded that in half and I put it in, and now there's a little pocket for whatever I want to put inside. Yay! Oh my God, that's so cute. Basically did this entire page, just to heads up, there's this page, this page, this page, this page. I am going to skip this bottom part because I do not care about a display case. So let's go back to this one. Now paint the top red and little thingies, and they gave me a lot more than I think I'll probably need, but hey, here you go. Well, I guess the one question I really should answer is, you know, how do you manage to balance this with having a job and a kid? It's really hard. So part of it helps that, you know, I found a job that works for my particular lifestyle. So as you know, I'm a doctor. I work 60 to 80 hours a week, but a lot of those hours are clustered together because I work in 24-hour chunks called calls. Because then if you work these 24 hours, you then get the next day off. You also get the day before, like even if you go into work, which you don't always, if you do go into work, you only work a certain number of hours. Like usually I will work 6 to 8 hours or less versus a normal day where I go to the hospital, I will probably work about 10 to 12. So because of that, I would do a lot of calls and I have a lot of post-call days off. And I also picked a job that makes me take a ton of one call every 3.85 days. But on the other hand, I get a lot of vacation. So because of that, it gives me time to travel. It also gives me a lot of time off. The other thing I would have to say is it's kind of just the way that I work. You know how you're really tired at the end of the day, you just sit and watch TV? During that hour where I sit and watch TV, I'm always sewing. I'm allowed to watch TV, but I have to be doing something with my hands. It could be something just like hemming a skirt. It could be putting in tiny little pinprick stitches. It could be just doing the boring part of a gown, but I have a whole basket of hand sewing that I keep next to the television that I just kind of go through and I just finish. Right now, that hand sewing basket is looking pretty puny because I've just been on a long string of hand sewing. But usually there's so much in there, so I just do an hour of one thing in there a day. And no matter how tired I am, as long as I'm not on one of those 24-hour shifts, I make myself do 1 hour a day. At the end of that 1 hour, I can just choose to continue or I can put it down and do something else without guilt. But by forcing myself to do 1 hour a day, it lets me be consistent and lets me actually finish a project. So even though I do multiple projects a day at a time, kind of forcing myself to do 1 hour really pushes me along. And the other thing about it is I also have multiple projects at different stages. I try to stagger them so that one's towards being completed while another one is being drafted, and another one while it's being drafted is being trimmed, and another one is just having a lot of hand sewing in. in process, so that when I do have a day off, I can be like, what do I want to do that day? Do I want to do hand sewing, or do I want to like really like brain it out and like draft a pattern? So that way I have multiple things to choose from. And the other thing that helps is a lot of people are late for their own surgeries. A lot of surgeons are late for their own surgeries. So I can literally sit and digitize for like an hour here and there, even while I'm at work, and I could just get patterns finished because people are late for surgeries. And there's a lot of waiting in surgeries, and there's a lot of waiting in hospitals. So I don't bring my sewing into the hospital because I think that's kind of gross, but I do bring my computer, which I need for work anyway. And I will utilize downtime waiting with digitizing. So there's that. So there's the work ethic, there's that. And the third thing I get asked about is my how do you balance having a kid? And, you know, completely honestly, I sleep train my kid really hardcore. My husband and I really believe in it. He quit his job as a software engineer and he's now a full-time father. But when I'm home, I want to spend as much of the time that he is awake with him. So we split that time, you know, it's really what I do. And between all three of those things, I can kind of eke out doing my favorite hobbies as well. And I tell myself it's not about being fast. It's about just, you know, being me and just doing what I enjoy, because this is my hobby. This is how I chillax at the end of a long day of work. Pick one cozy drink, mulled cider, tea, or hot chocolate. I would say probably mulled cider. I love a good cup of apple cider. What do you find more challenging, being a doctor or an artist? They're all challenging in different ways, and completely honestly, I can't live with one or the other. Like I love being both. When I'm forced to just do one for an extended period of time, I could feel myself like getting really sad because I don't get to express the other part of myself. Like I love science and I love art, and I hope that really comes across in all of my videos. Like science is really cool. Like I love thinking logically about that. And I also love puzzling out art and how to draw. And so it's really both. What's your favorite color? Pink. On a sillier note, have you ever made rounds in your historical clothing just for laughs? That's a really fun question, and honestly, no, I haven't, because I don't like wearing my hair down in a hospital because it gets filthy, moreover an entire skirt. That being said, I have at some point collected like 12 old used scrubs so I could try to turn it into like a Victorian bustle gown, and that I wouldn't mind wearing because it's made out of scrubs and I don't care if it gets filthy. And I even had the permission of the hospital to do it, and they actually gave me old scrubs. And then it got destroyed in a fire in an apartment. But, you know, one day I would love to do that. What is your favorite X-Files episode? This is such a cop-out, but my favorite episode is actually the pilot, because the story of how Mulder and Scully get together, that initial like meeting, that sexual tension is just so delicious. The actors just have such great chemistry. So, oh my God, I love that episode. Favorite kid-safe swear words? Thank you, costuming drama. Okay, so as you know, I have a kid and I actually curse like a sailor, and I can't anymore. I've given up cursing. So we've actually implemented animal cursing in our house. It's where we use animals instead of curse words. So I won't say the curse words because I want to be able to monetize this video, but the words are anthill, beehive, mother frogger, mother frogging, frog you, frog. Frog is hands down my favorite and most versatile word. Do you actually ever sleep? So I actually, when I am not on call, I sleep a ton. I go to bed every single night at 9 p.m. and I wake up every single morning at 5 a.m. I also am a big believer in naps. That being said, when I am on call, I probably do not. I very rarely sleep that 9 to 5 a.m. I probably sleep till like half that or less. So no, I guess I don't sleep as much as I'd like, but you know, when I can and when I do have the option, like I'm on vacation this week, I definitely sleep 9 a.m. I go to bed at 9 p.m. every single day. Favorite costume make so far? Oh my God, I don't have one. I mean, my red dress is the one that I'm most proud of because it's the first one where I really felt like what I imagined in my head actually came out. On the other hand, like Matt's newest court suit makes me so unbelievably happy. And the grape dress is just is like my most comfortable outfit I've ever made. It is so light and so comfortable and so floofy. Like the one with like the grapes and the one with the sheer white. Oh my god, it is so comfortable to wear. Favorite material, silk lampas. By far, it is the hardest one to get. Tell us about your nerdy passion for Warhammer and other geeky stuff. Yes, absolutely yes. So, I love Warhammer 40k. I love tabletop gaming. I don't play Dungeons and Dragons, but I do play a lot of the other things. I love European board games. Settlers of Catan is like the big one. Kingdom Death. I play Warhammer 40k. I've been playing for 10 years now. Matt and I used to do the competitive circuit when I was in medical school. And we still did some like competitive stuff during residency. It's just a lot harder. But basically, this is this game where you have these miniature 1-inch toy soldiers and you have like 100 of them and someone else has like 100 of them. And each of them, they're WYSIWYG. Like what you see is what you get. Like if they have a certain gun, that gun has certain rules about how far it could shoot, how much of another miniature it can shoot, and so forth. And you play on this 4 by 6 foot table. And it is so much fun to just drive up with your little army of like toy girl soldiers and they all come out and they flamer the living life out of your opponent's miniature toy soldiers. And it is so like delightful. It is a wonderful way to relieve stress. And it's also really impossible to do during a pandemic because you are across a table from someone and that table is, you know, it's 4 feet. And I guess you could wear a mask, but like you really are pretty up close to people while you do it. So we can't really do the tournament circuit anymore. I do also cosplay this. In fact, I do have a video planned this year talking about the cosplay for Sisters of Battle for Warhammer 40k. So definitely keep your eyes peeled for that one. That one's going to be a fun video to make. What would you say the average amount of time you spend on a project is? So it depends on the project. I would say that like a full-fledged dress with full trim and with no embroidery, but just like sewing the base of the dress and hemming everything and doing everything for it is probably somewhere around 40 to 60 hours, which to me isn't that much. You know, an hour a day, like that's a month easy. Like an hour a day with a couple of days where you spend like a couple more hours. It's about a month, which is how I basically hammer out those dresses so quickly. A fully embroidered dress, you know, like my pink dress is a lot more. I would say that one, the embroidery on that alone was probably about like 60 hours. So that's probably closer to 100 hours. And that one is probably more like a 2-month make. Is there an era/period that you stand clear of? Absolutely 1860s. Oh my God, I never do 1860s. European people probably don't have anything against it. In the United States, the 1860s is the era of the Civil War. And obviously, you know, there's also wonderful things like it, like Little Women, but a lot of people who reenact it are white supremacists. And, you know, they go to Civil War era balls or the Confederacy, like the Sisters of the Confederacy or the Wives of the Confederacy. And I really just don't want to be mistaken for them at all in any way, shape, or form. And moreover, if I go to those things, I really don't think I would be very welcome there. And for that reason, I just don't do it. It's a pity because there's some beautiful gowns, especially by Worth from that era. If in the future things get better, I may do it because there are some beautiful gowns from that era. Have I made enough garments for a rainbow? No, not yet. Red I have, orange I have, yellow I have, green I have, blue I don't have, indigo I don't have, purple I don't have. I tend to stay clear of like the cooler colors. I think I personally look better in like you know, the warmer ones, which is why I tend to do that. But I really don't have any blue. Okay, maybe I need to start some blue. Weirdest patient under anesthesia story. I actually don't tell medical stories with friends. Even if I remove the name, I'm so terrified that I might give something away about a patient and they'll be like, no. Like if I tell you a patient story, that's because you're a close friend of mine and I'm hoping that if you share the story, you share it without saying my name. Are hospitals as sexy as Grey's Anatomy? No. In fact, the American Society of Anesthesiology has written 3 letters to Grey's Anatomy saying them to basically stop making anesthesia look so bad, and I agree with them. Okay, so I'm done with the project, and as a review, I have to say, I love it. Like, it is so, so cute. I plan on putting a little ribbon or hook on the top of it and then turning it into an ornament so I could hang it on my tree. But how adorable would it be if you had all these walnuts hanging on your tree and each of them just had a different like world and a dollhouse inside of it? Like, I think that's just so cool. So anyways, you can see it. I think it's really, really close to the original picture. They gave a lot of really cool materials and they gave enough of it. You had to provide your own glue and scissors, but I tried not to use anything else that I had in the house. Like I thought about actually like getting sandpaper out and using that for the mushrooms, but I didn't really need it. And I really like how they came out. So yeah, I would give this 5 out of 5 stars. Love it, highly recommend it. And if you guys want to try it yourself, I've linked the Amazon below. I've also linked the AliExpress below if you want to try it. There is also a ton of other little dollhouse kits. I've done those too, and they're really fun. So, okay. Oh, and next episode should be in about a week or 2 weeks, not sure which one. And I should be going back to my usual format of actually sewing things. But this was a nice palette cleanser, and I may do this again to do more dollhouses because I do have a lot of these kits, and I think it'll be really fun to see all of them.